Hey folks, welcome to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. This is going to be a product review on this BX42S chipper shredder. So this is a 4-inch, it'll do up to 4-inch limbs. And I've got a big stack of them here I'm going to run through there. So basically you just feed them into this chute and they go out, they come out here. So I'm going to point out a few features on this and a few things that I've learned while I've done this pile of chips here you see beside me. First off, if you purchase one of these, you need to go down to your local hardware store and get you a handful of these 3/4 inch long 5/16 grade 5 bolts with a lock nut, because this is your shear pin. The shear pin on this is I think it's kind of weak for what it's rated at the 4 inches. I was doing some 4-inch limbs and close to 4 inches, and I was having a lot of shear pins bust. So this is down on the U-joint on your double knuckle where you connect it to your PTO, and they're easy to replace, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. So when you set this up, you want to make sure that you've got it level. So your PTO shaft is sitting level. So you see the shaft here is horizontal and it's not cockeyed, so there's not a lot of load on your U-joints. It comes with a PTO shaft guard, and you hook up these chains on both ends to keep it from spinning. So this stays stationary while the shaft turns inside. You connect it to your tractor PTO. Right there it's got the snap or the push-in U-joint. So you slide it on and it locks in place. It's got a shield on it here that lifts up, which this is nice. I wish my tractor had this, because this thing is in the way all the dang time when you're trying to work on this. So that lifts up and gives you nice access to that. So if I can turn this, I'll show you the shear pin. Well, it's down below. You can see the nut right there sticking out. There you go. There's a good shot of the. So that's that 5/16 bolt going through there. So what it does is it shears in two right here on this connection, and this part will keep spinning and that part will stop if you put something in that's too big for it. It's designed to handle, and if you start putting a lot of 4-inch stuff in there, particularly dry wood, it'll pop that thing pretty quick. So you need a good handful of those, and I started going down to just about 3-inch diameter, and it works a lot better. And I haven't popped a shear pin since I started doing that, but there's a few logs in here, or sticks, that are a little bigger than that, but so I'll probably go through a couple of them in this pile right here. But another thing I've noticed is if you put in like a whole tree limb, say you cut a tree limb off, it's like say that one that's hanging down right there. You just shove the thing in there like that. It'll take it no problem, and it'll suck it down in there. You don't have to push on it. It just goes right in, and it'll shred it all up. But what you get when you put in whole limbs like that, you get a lot of this little twiggy stuff, and you don't get wood chips. So it doesn't break these up real well, especially if they're green. They just kind of, they flex rather than get chopped. So. And you can see a lot of that in this wood chips right here, a lot of that twiggy stuff. So I stopped, I started cutting the ends of the limbs out and burning that part, and the good chips that I did without that, didn't have all that stuff, is up here. You can see there's not a lot of that in there. So that's really good stuff right there. That's something you'd want to put out in a decorative flower bed, and it wouldn't look bad at all. So that's the kind of chips that come out of this type of wood that doesn't have all those little twigs on it. Okay, when I purchased this from Titan Attachments, I had to do a little bit of assembly on it. I had to put this part together and put on there because it was, it came in a big crate, steel palletized thing that they unloaded at my house. This chute was up here and I had to attach it. But other than that, it was all put together, and it took me probably an hour to do that. So this little handle here, you just push down and you rotate this chute wherever you want your chips to go. So I've got mine shooting out the side here, and it's got detent so it'll lock. See how it locked into place right there, so that won't move. If you clog it up, and it's easy to clog it if you're doing some green type wood that flexes and leaves. So green leaves will clog it up. It's got airflow through there, but if a lot hits this chute at the same time, and it's got a lot of twigs and stuff, it'll tend to clog up right here, and I have clogged it a couple of times. But you just got to pay attention and make sure you got your chips coming out when you're putting this stuff in. So be careful. And I've also ran bags of leaves that had a lot of twigs on it and mulched those up and shot it over into my compost area over there. So it's good for that too. But you got to do that on a calm day because the wind will blow it away just as fast as you run it through there. So let me show you inside of here what it looks like, and talk about that a little bit. So there's a bolt. So this big bolt here goes down in here, and that's what holds that down. I've taken it off so I can get to this real quick. But this just leans over. So if it's clogged, this is how you clean out your clog. You go in here and you just pull the stuff out. So it has 4 chopping blades. And these things right here is what creates the airflow, this flap here. And it also has, these grooves inside of here that coincide with this little piece right here. So that helps bust things apart when it flows by there like that. If there's anything in here, and as this spins, the stuff goes to the outside edges. So anything that's in here, it's going to chop it up right there, the smaller stuff. But here's the blades. So I notice my blades have a bolt pattern that's not consistent, not evenly spaced. You got 2 close together here and 2 far apart here. So these are equally spaced. Plus there's 1 extra here. So you can take these blades off and reverse them. So there's another brand new set of a sharp blade right there. And there's 4 of these on this wheel. And that's the cutting edge right there. So I've done this whole pile here, and these blades feel sharp. I mean, not sharp as a knife, but they're sharp. So they're still good. So that's some good hard steel on those. So that's how this thing here works. That's how it's put together. So one thing, I don't know if I mentioned on your shear bolt, make sure you get grade 5 bolts. Don't get a grade 8 bolt. If you get a grade 8 bolt, it's not going to shear and you're liable to blow something up in here. It has 2 carrier bearings, or bearings on each. There's 1 on each side, and there's your grease zerk. So you need to grease that, you know, after so many hours. I'm sure it's in the manual. I greased it good when I got it. So there's 1 there, and the other one is on this side. So it's designed to run at I think it says 540 RPM, which on my tractor is 2510 RPMs. So when you run your tractor, be sure your brakes are set so it won't roll on you. And if anybody's around you, keep them away from the tractor. Keep Keep away from your gear shifts, because if this was to bump into gear when you're running this thing at 2,500 RPMs, you know, it could take off, it could back up and run over you, you know, whatever. So that's a good point. So you want to make sure, if you have a manual transmission, be sure this is in forward. So if it does get kicked into gear in any way, it's not going to reverse and come run over you. It'll just take off and go into oblivion there. But anyway, safety first. One thing I wish was a little different on this. I have these Pat's quick connectors here on my 3-point hitch, and these are just barely wide enough to get my pins in there. In fact, that pin looks like it's bent now. So it's a pretty narrow width as well. I had to scoot these in for it to fit it. My brush hog and box blade, it mounts a lot wider than that, so I had to make some adjustments in here to hook up to it. But yeah, these, and I think you can get longer pins like this and put them in here, but these were really narrow for my application there on those Pat's quick hitches. Let's fire this thing up and demonstrate it working. Couple of safety things. Wear ear protection. It's very loud. Not only the engine from your tractor, but when it's cutting stuff up, it's very loud, and you'll see that. And also, never ever walk in front of the chute, the discharge chute, because things will linger in this intake here, and then they'll slowly work their way down. And you may think there's nothing coming out, and all of a sudden something will come out of there and it'll hit you hard. And I haven't done that, but I've seen some videos where some folks have done that. So don't ever walk out in front of that thing. Kick the PTO on. Okay, real quick, another safety pointer. When you have a big long limb, like this for example, and you put this in there, stay away from it, because when that thing starts grabbing and chopping it, this is going to fling around and it can hit you. So, and that has happened to me, especially if you got one that's, you know, a little crooked. It's going to really fling around out here. Okay, so that big old stick, yeah, it was too much for it, and that popped the shear pin. So show you how we replace that real quick. Get the tripod set up here and get that going. Okay, I picked these up off the ground underneath so you can see where that's sheared. Right there, right in the middle. So when this happens, save your lock nut. But for the sake of this video, I went ahead and rotated the drum so that the pins aligned up here so I could get a good camera angle. But and I got the PTO lined up with it here. So you just line these two pieces up, get your pin back in there, and I always carry a crescent wrench and a pair of pliers on my tractor, so that's all you need for this. And you don't have to crank it down tight, it just needs to be snug. Just get that lock nut locked. There we go. Also, there's some grease fittings on these double knuckles, so you should give them a shot of grease when you first install it. And I don't know if I mentioned, but when you install your PTO drive, put your shear pin back here by the tool, because you've got this nice access spot for it. When it's up against your tractor, if it's like mine, you can't hardly get your hands in there, and it's a pain to get that thing lined up and replaced. So I flipped mine back around. Hey, it's starting to sprinkle on me now, so I'm going to shut the video down and finish this up and get my camera out of the rain, and I hope you enjoyed the video. This is, I think, $1,800, and it's in Amazon Prime as well as on Titan Attachments. It's the exact same price, and I'll put a link down below to that, so if you want to use that link, I'd appreciate it. Using my affiliate link doesn't cost you a penny more if you use that. So if this video was helpful to you and you enjoyed it and it sold you on the product, I appreciate you using that. But I'm very impressed with this chipper. It's built solid. The only thing I don't like about it is what you just saw. If you push it with some big stuff, and if it's dry wood, it's even harder, like dried elm, you're going to pop that thing pretty regular. So keep your limb size to 3 inches and you'll do pretty good. That last one I shoved in there, it was pretty good sized, and it was kind of at an angle too, so I think that's probably why it popped that. I suspected it would. But anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope it was a good review for you. Give me a thumbs up. It helps the video in the search ranks, and we'll catch you on the next product review. Y'all take care.